What's up, guys? Welcome back to the NHL and USHL podcast. And today, we're going to be reviewing the past few days of NHL and USHL games that I have missed. So, yeah, let's do it. Thursday, September 19th, 2024. It was 4 USHL games, starting with the Capitals blowing out the Omaha Lancers 7-3, including scoring 5 goals in the third period. So, yeah. There is that game. Next game, Buccaneers squeak out a victory over the Green Bay Gamblers 2-1. So, yeah. 2 games down so far, the USHL. The Sioux City Musketeers improve with the 2-1 victory over the Youngstown Phantoms. Thursday, shootout victory. The Big Fine Saints over the Tri-City Storm. I think I went over these games. Friday games I did not go over. I know I didn't. Cause after the Butte game, I did not talk about that game. So I know I didn't talk about any of the other games. So Friday and Saturday when the USHL, all the USHL games are on, basically. There might be 1 and 2 on Sunday, 1 and 2 on Thursday, maybe. But mainly Friday and Saturday. Gamblers 2-0 shutout victory over the Fargo Force, and then the Lincoln Stars defeat the Madison Capitals 5-2. Chicago Steel defeated Des Moines Buccaneers 5-2. And Cedar Rapids defeats Omaha 4-0. Wait, this was last week. Yeah, that's why. I was so confused. I'm like, why? I went over the game. Why did not just Saints do not play on Friday? They just played Friday. I was at the game, but yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I could just click on today, then it'd be closer. That's funny. They didn't talk about that. Because I don't think there was any game. There was no games on Thursday. That also explains why there's games on Thursday on here. There's no games on Thursday this past week. Hello to Doug. Thank you for joining. It's backing it up. Okay, Friday was the first slated game for this weekend. Chicago Steel defeats the Muskegon Lumberjacks 3-2 in a shootout. The Big Fine Saints pick up a 5-1 victory over the Tri-City Storm. I was at this game. The Saints came out flying. Cooper Dennis, Torco Genero, all scored in the first, and then Matt Desiderio scored in the second. Then Morello and Heikki Rauhainen scored in the third. It was 5-0 Saints. Vihu got one back for the Storm, and the Saints ended up winning 5. The one, they're looking a lot better. They look like they're actually putting the pieces together, get the chemistry better, and watch out for the Saints because he's picked up Jan Spoonar, which I should also talk about him after this. Actually, after I'm done with Saturday games, I'll talk about Jan Spoonar and his pick up for the Saints. What he would do for the Saints coming up. 4-1 Force beat the Team USA Hockey and TDP 4-1. Gamblers get blown out by the Stars 9-1. Phantoms defeat Capitals 3-2 in a shootout. Those were Friday's games. Saints did not play on Saturday, by the way. I don't know who all played on Saturday on the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure most teams besides the Saints played on Saturday. It's loading. Okay. Chicago Steel defeat the Youngstown Phantoms 3-2. Team USA defeat the Fargo Force 5-2. Lincoln Stars defeat the Green Bay Gamblers 5-4 in overtime. Blake Montgomery overtime winner. Sioux City defeat Sioux Falls 6-3. Wait, hold up. The Blackhawks defeat the Buccaneers 4-3. Go Saints, do Doug. 4-1 Tri-City defeats Cedar Rapids, gives them the first loss of the season. 1-0 Lumberjacks somehow squeak out a 1-0 victory over the Madison Capitals. So yeah, that's all the games this past weekend. Caught up on USHL. Let's look at the standings real quick. Let's get a little quick check up on the standings. Real quick. Okay. Here's what we're looking at right now. Okay, there you go. That's the whole league right now. Okay, we'll go from the Eastern Conference down to the Western Conference. 1 to 8 in each conference. Number 1 in the Eastern Conference, Chicago Steel, 3-1-0-0 for 6 points so far in the season. Number 2, Cedar Rapids Rough Riders, they're 2-1-0-0, 4 points. And then Team USA Hockey and TDP, 2-2 for 4 points. The Big Fighting Saints, 2-1 for 4 points. And then Youngstown Phantoms, 2-2 for 4 points. Number 5, number 6, Muskegon, 1-1 for 4 points. And then number 7, Madison Capitals, 1-2 for 1, 2, 0, and 1 for 3 points. And then 1, 2, 1, 0. Is the Gamblers' record to come in last place in the Eastern Conference so far with 3 points. So that's Eastern Conference standings right now. First of all, the Chicago Steel have not played the best teams. Like, they played good for the games they played, but I feel like they played a Duke next weekend, so I don't know how they're going to play there. Cedar Rapids has looked really good, and as a Saints fan, and a team with against in their conference, first of all, and second of all, being the biggest rival, I'm glad to see them lose on Saturday. But I will give them credit where credit is due. They did look good in the first 7 games. They just came out flat in Cedar Rapids, a home opener, and Tri-City jumped all over their mistakes, made them pay, and took that game pretty handedly, I would say. Team USA, they beat the Force twice, Friday and Saturday. Got their first 2 wins of the season. Good for them. They played good those games. The Big Fighting Saints, they lost their first game, and then they beat Tri-City 3-2 in shootout in the last game of the Fall Classic. And then I would say they gave a smacking to the Tri-City Swarm in the home opener in Dubuque. 5-1. They jumped out right out the gate, right down the throats. Went up 5-0 by halfway point through the third period. Tri-City got one back, and it was too late. I agree with what Doug said. Probably be a great test for the Saints this weekend. I agree. I think that the Saints will be tested this weekend as a Saints fan. That's why I like talking about the Saints weekend and stuff and what's going on, because I'm a Saints fan, if you couldn't tell. And if you haven't been watching these past podcast episodes or whatever, I'm a Saints fan, clearly. 5, Youngstown. I do like what they first of all have like the most penalty minutes right now. They have 106 penalty minutes, and the second team team closest to that is actually, funny enough, Team USA, which I feel like is normally a pretty clean team, but I don't know. Youngstown has 106 penalty minutes. In the second place is Team USA with 68. I don't know. They must be getting a lot of fights. I don't know if they're like playing cheap or they're just getting in a lot of fights. You're both. I know they're getting a lot of fights, but I don't know if they've been playing cheap too. I don't know. But they're 2-2 right now with 4 points. They look pretty decent, but a little bit inconsistent. 6, Muskegon, the offense has been pretty shaky. They won 1-0 last weekend. Great game by Shiga Boots and Gatsiev, by the way. Shout out to him for that 1-0 shutout victory. Carried Lumberjacks to that victory last weekend. Actually, on Saturday. So 3 days ago. So, yeah, good for them. They're 1-1. 1-1 for 4 points. Next, Madison Capitals, they look flat. I mean, they're all around. Their team's not very good right now. They have 11 goals and 12 goals against through the first 4 games. They're 1-2-0-1 right now for 3 points. Not looking good. I'm going to say the same thing for the Gamblers. They only have 8 goals, and they've let up 16. So they've let up twice as much goals as they scored. They're 1-2-1-0 to start out the season. So, yeah, that's Eastern Conference. Western Conference standings, 1 to 8. Number 1, Sioux City Musketeers. They're 3-0, 6 points. Lincoln Stars, they're 3-1 for 6 points. They're tied for first place, but actually they're not, because Sioux City has 1 less loss. So yeah, Sioux City's number 1. Number 3, the Waterloo Blackhawks. 2-1-0-0 for 4 points. And then Sioux Falls Stampede, 2-1 for 4 points. And Fargo Force, 2-2 for 4 points. And then Tri-City Storm, 1-1-1-1 for 4 points. Des Moines Buccaneers, 1-2-0-0 for 2 points. And Omaha Lancers, 0-2 for 0 points. Going from the top, Musketeers, they look really good, especially when they play the Saints. I know Saints came out flat, and Dylan Johnson did not have a good game to start out his regular season. By the way, speaking of Dylan Johnson, he had a phenomenal game in Dubuque this past weekend on Friday. Shout out to him. Anyways, and yes, I know DJ didn't have a great game. The first Saints, both of their season openers in Pittsburgh. The Saints as a whole came out pretty flat, but Sioux City Musketeers capitalized. They realized the Saints came out flat. They went down, they scored, they capitalized, and they played overall a lot better than us. And the other two games they played that was not against the Saints, they looked really good too. They beat the Sioux Falls CMP 6-3, and I'm pretty sure they beat the other team pretty handedly too. And then they beat the Saints pretty handedly too. So I'm going to give it to the Musketeers. They looked really, really good to start the season. Lincoln Stars 31-0-0. They just beat the Gamblers. I know the Gamblers haven't been looking good, but they just beat them in overtime, and they looked pretty good outside that one game too. So Lincoln earned their spot at number 2. Number 3, Blackhawks 2-1. They've been looking pretty good. I do like the way they've been playing lately. They still got Vishon in net. Vacon, however you say that. I'm not 100% sure I say that. But yeah, they still have him in net. So yeah. Number 4, Sioux Falls Stampede. By the way, we're gonna look at this I'm gonna try to look at this every Sunday, if I remember correctly. Every Sunday I'll try to go over the standings, but I didn't do it on Sunday. So I'm gonna do it on Tuesday because it's Tuesday. So yeah, number 5, Fargo Force. They look pretty good. The 2-2. They've let up 10 goals and scored 10 goals. So I mean, yeah, they've been pretty decent. They're like literally 50-50. Let up 10 goals. Scored 10 goals, 501 percentage, 2-2 for 4 points, 4 games. Like literally like that even and everything. 6, Tri-City Storm 1-1-1-1 for 4 points. They look pretty good. They just came out flat. On Friday against the Saints. It also didn't help them that the Saints came out flying that game as well. So, yeah. But they just beat Cedar Rapids, so maybe they can get some momentum off of that. Beating, at that point, the 2-0 Cedar Rapids, but including the preseason, they were 7-0. So, Des Moines Buccaneers 1-2-0-0. They were beating the Blackhawks at one point, and then they kind of fumbled. The Blackhawks took the lead, and they never were able to get it back. Blackhawks just kind of took off. They were up 1-0, and then Waterloo scored 3 straight unanswered, and they ended up holding on to that lead, winning 4-3. So yeah, the Buccaneers, they look pretty decent, but you would like for them to close out games and get the 2 points. At least 1 point, preferably 2 points for their case. In Omaha, they just look flat. They started out the preseason really good, and they just been really flat for the last game or 2 of the preseason and the first 2 games of the regular season. So hopefully they can pick it up for their own sake, but I don't know. We'll have to see. So let me go back to the scoreboard. So for tomorrow's podcast episode, we will just have it all up and ready to go. Okay. Actually, there's no games today or tomorrow, so it's fine. We're going to go over these games real quick. I'm not going to go over each goal scorer because I don't want this podcast to be forever because I got something to watch soon. But yeah, I was going to go over the scores. Rangers defeated the Bruins 5-2. This is Thursday, by the way, right here. I mean, hopefully you can read, but if not, if you're blind for some reason, I don't think anybody in the chat's blind, but I don't know. Thursday, September 26th, these games. Rangers beat Bruins 5-2. Sabres beat the Senators 3-2. They somehow took it to overtime, even though they shot to 41-16 in favor of the Sabres. Maple Leafs squeaked out a win over the Canadiens, but they should have won even more. And by the way, Patrick Laine, if you haven't seen, he had a really bad-looking knee-to-knee collision and looked like he probably torn his ACL. But luckily, he had a knee sprain or something like that, and he's only going to be out for 2 to 3 months. I'm so happy and relieved that he's not going to be out for the whole season because I'm really excited to see what he can do on Montreal, and I'm so glad to see he's only out for 2 to 3 months and not the whole season like some people expected. I'm so glad for that. Then the Flyers shut out the Islanders in a stinker of a match here. 2-0 victory. 2 very boring teams. When did the NHL regular season start? Friday, October 4th. There's a bunch of preseason games on that day, but there is one regular season game on that day, and it is Czechia. The actual season opener in North America, when there's no preseason games and it's only regular season from there on out, it's the 8th. But there's one game in the 4th, and then starting on the 8th all the way to like April would be the actual regular season. But there's one game in the 4th. And also, before we move on to the Sharks and Ducks game, I will say that tomorrow I'm gonna go over every NHL team and say if they're gonna get better or worse from last year, and just do an overall rundown of their team. And October 3rd is gonna be October Power Rankings, the day before the regular season starts, and then we're off and running for the regular season. So we're excited about that one. Next, Sharks defeat the Ducks 3-2 in overtime. Friday, there's 9 games on Friday. Friday, September 27th. The Sabres shut out the EHC Red Bull Munch. I don't know who that is. That's come from a completely different league. Don't ask me anything about that because I don't know. So yeah, I mean, that happened. Hurricanes blew out the Florida Panthers 8-2. Red Wings beat the Blackhawks in 2-0 shutout victory. That was also kind of a stinker, I can assume. Islanders beat the Devils 5-1. Stars beat the Avalanche 4-2. Wild beat the Jets in an absolute shootout. Like, not literally a shootout, but they scored a lot of goals, 8-5. Almost as much as that Tampa and Florida game a few days ago, and it was 8-7. Jeez, that was crazy. 8-4, Blue Jackets beat the Capitals. 5-2, the Knights beat the Hockey Club. 3-1, the Kraken defeated the Canucks. So now we're on to Saturday, September 28th. Kings defeated the Ducks 3-2. Panthers beat the Hurricanes 5-4 in overtime. Another overtime game, the Flyers defeated the Bruins 3-2 in overtime. Blue Jackets beat the Sabres 6-3. Maple Leafs beat the Canadiens again 2-1. Blues beat the Blackhawks 3-2, and guess what? Overtime. A lot of overtime games that day. 6-0 Predators shut out the Lightning 5-4. Oilers barely beat the Kraken, and Flames beat the Canucks 4-2. Those are Saturday's games. Next up, Sunday, September 29th. There's only 3 games this day. 4-2, Stars defeated the Wild. 5-2, Penguins defeated the Senators, and Hockey Club defeated the Avalanche 6-3. Next is Monday, yesterday, and then we'll go over the games that are over today. And then we'll go over the games that are not over tomorrow. The Penguins defeated the Red Wings 5-1. The Red Wings lost again, this time to the Sabres 4-3 in overtime. Apparently it must be split lineups for the Red Wings, but they're playing different teams. That's kind of weird. Devils 3-1. Yeah, they beat the Rangers 3-1. Islanders beat the Flyers 4-3. Lightning beat the Panthers 3-1. Capitals beat the Blue Jackets 3-1. Flames beat the Kraken 4-3 in overtime. The Oilers beat the Canucks 3-2 in no shootout. But I watched that shootout in overtime and shootout. Did you guys see that shot by Draisaitl? He went after McDavid, the second Oilers shooter. He literally walked in about a stride or two after he crossed the blue line. He just absolutely ripped the slap shot bar down. That was ridiculous. He's like, I just got paid $14 million for 8 years. Literally the highest paid player, I think, ever. Actually, I'm pretty sure. So I'm just going to do whatever the heck I want. He just walked in, did a slap shot ball down and scored. So, I mean, I'm not even going to question him. That was nasty. The Kings shut out the Ducks 4-0 shutout victory. There's 8 games today. I don't know how much is over right now. I don't know. There's really no games over. That don't even make sense. There's games over. Just where are they at? There's really no games over right now. Dang, they're all just starting. Okay. Well, that's going to do it for today's podcast episode. I will see you guys tomorrow for episode... Oh, wait. Before I end today's podcast episode, I got to go over Rasmus Dahlin. Rasmus Dahlin's the new Buffalo Sabres captain. He got announced a few days ago. I would think that's a good decision because he's a number 1 defenseman and he's probably the best player on that team. I would say. Yeah. Between him and Tate Thompson, but I think he's a little bit better. But yeah, that's going to do it for today's podcast episode. I will see you guys tomorrow for episode 6 of season 5. Peace.